Hey guys, welcome to my video on visual analysis for Year 12 English, area of study, analysing argument. Today what we're going to go through is the steps that I take interpreting and analysing a visual, whether it be a part of an article or an isolated image. We're also going to go through the what, how, why structure. So what is being contended or what is being argued, how is it being depicted, and why. So the intended effect and authorial intent from the illustrator's intent. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to jump straight into an image, and that image is it's a cartoon, and you can see it's illustrated by someone called Roy. And this cartoon was part of an article suggesting that one nation should dissolve as a political party. So it's not an isolated image. The cartoon is used within an article to support their contention, but also to support a particular argument. So it's important to note that when you are interpreting a visual that's a part of an article, you must be linking it to the contention, how it supports the contention, but also to an argument. So what argument does this sit with? And right now, we don't know because we haven't interpreted it. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of the features that stand out straight away. So the first thing that comes to my attention is the figure or the subject, which is Pauline Hanson, and we can tell by her really vibrant red hair. And if we didn't know, just by the visual, we can see that it's Pauline certified and accredited and One Nation approved. And on top of that, we have the heading called Hanson Snack Pack, which is really a play on words on the halal snack pack, a delicious dinner treat that you can buy from your local kebab stores. And the reason why this has been packaged this way is because Pauline Hanson was arguing that no food in Australia should be halal certified, that we should not cater for Muslims and their culture and religion. So this image is a response to her ideas. So we can see that the Hanson Snack Pack is in fact irony. And if we couple that and we link it to the bottom here, it says halal free. Okay, so when we look at our interpretation later and we explain the why, you'll see how I've linked those two together. But what else can we see in the image, guys? If we look, we see food items. So it says cheesed off, lots of nuts, time is ripe, and like a cherry ripe. We see like a similar sort of packaging to the Vegemite container, and it says will leave, I think it says sour or bad taste in your mouth. And then we have half-baked ideas. So a lot of play on words here, and a lot of associations we can make. So bad taste in your mouth, meaning that it's not so good, or half-baked ideas, meaning they're not fully fledged or fully cooked ideas. They're half-assed, if we're going to colloquially speak, and if that suits you better. And then lots of nuts. So the connotations or that are associated, or the associations with the word nuts, and it even is repeated at the front here where it says contains nuts. So are they literally talking about nuts, as in the food, or are they implying something else about Pauline Hanson and her political party? Okay, moving on. There's a few other things that we can analyze here. We can highlight. So to the left of the box, it says made in Australia, expiry date 1996, which would imply that Pauline Hanson and her party's views and ideologies are out of date with our current society, our progressive and multicultural society. A link to that and that idea of Australia and culture is we see at the front here that there is a Southern Cross reference. So Southern Cross tattoos were synonymous in the early to, or say the 2000s, and some people still get them to show their patriotism and their connection to Australia. And unfortunately, it did take a bit of a beating, the Southern Cross, when the Cronulla riots took place, and white Australian males used it as like a call to arms, or like a badge of honour, which is not what the Southern Cross represents. We also see the writing, the text box. Well, look what's backed by popular demand, and we see the facial expression of the fly. It's quite sarcastic. Well, look what's backed by popular demand. We can tell by the expression here that even the flies aren't happy, and they're not interested in the food, and in this case, the food representing or being symbolic of the ideas of Pauline Hanson. So these are just some of the things that I've been able to pull apart. And we're going to comment on all of those things? No, because we've been there for a while. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I followed the what, how, why structure. The what is simply outlining the contention, or in this case, what argument it's supporting. So it's a cartoon image depicting Pauline Hanson contending that the character of her and her political party are out of touch with the Australian public. So with the article, because this is a part of an article, I would be highlighting what argument this image is in fact supporting. It's going to support the overall contention, but what particular argument is it supporting? And I'd write about that together. I wouldn't treat the image separately. Okay, we've talked about holistic analysis. That is a part of it. And we move to the how. So the how is the features, the things that we've just highlighted and annotated from the visual, we are going to put in the how section. So how is this done? How is the contention or argument supported? Well, Pauline Hanson's deliberately made to look sour, and we can tell by her facial expressions. So she's got the pursed lipped, she's got her brow, she's frowning, and she's made to look quite evil. That's not an inviting character there. The food items represent the distasteful nature of her political beliefs, and the views of her party. Now, your teachers will often say that this is the most important part. This is the analysis. This is where the money is. This is what's going to get you the marks. Obviously, you can't do the why without the what and the how, so it is important that you know those two things. But the why is the explanation. So explaining the intended effect that it may have on the audience, and the reason why the illustrator or author chose to incorporate the things that they've done. So in my response, I've written the food in the image coupled with the expiry date of 1996. So I've taken two things. I'm looking at the food and I'm looking at the expiry date, and I'm joining them together. I'm not treating them separately. I'm interpreting it as holistically as I can, because they do link. There's a link there. On the left-hand side, suggests that Hanson's political ideologies are out of touch and not reflective of the progressive society in which we live in. This could encourage, so this is where I talk about the intended effect. And notice how I use the word could. I don't say this makes the reader feel, because we can't definitively say that it makes the reader feel anything. We can't put a definitive or absolute statement there. So make sure that you're using words like could or may. So perceived but not actual, or not that we know of anyway. So this could encourage older readers to reflect on their own political stance and compare this with the current views and values in which society promotes. To add, the Hanson snack pack paired with halal free. So I'm again linking two things together and not treating them separately. Claim demonstrates the irony of Hanson's party, as halal snack pack HSPs is a token of Australian Muslim culture. The irony is that these are the very people whom she and her party are meant to represent, but in this case we know that she doesn't. This may encourage readers to believe that one nation is not in fact one rather a dichotomy of us versus them. So us, whoever that may be, in Pauline Hanson's case, it's the the white Australia, which she so heavily promotes, and we can't talk about our own opinions, but this article definitely paints Pauline Hanson as xenophobic and racist, and this is what this image is supporting. So that's just one interpretation of an image. I'm going to show you another one, and this was taken from a past exam. It's a photograph, and it was used in an acceptance speech from a founder of a volunteer company. So, context, a single man arrived on the stage, and he was there to accept an award on behalf of his company. This image was in the background, so it's used in the background of his speech. Now, it's important to note that yes, it's an image. There's not that much, there's not a whole lot in here, but it's important to know the context. If we did not know the context, that it was a single man going up to give us a speech on behalf of his company, then this wouldn't really make sense. So, let's look at the features. We've got hands overlapping. There's female hands, so we can assume based on the long fingernails, and there's male hands. They're overlapping and they're joining together. We also notice the clothing. So some of the sleeves are rolled up. Now I hope that you've all heard the saying, "It's time to roll up our sleeves," which basically means it's time to get things happening. So in this regard, we're looking at a group of people joining together and they're rolling up their sleeves, which means they're not afraid of hard work and getting the job done. But again, we need to link that back to the context. It's a man giving a speech, and it's a single man he's accepting it. So let's have a look at my interpretation. So we've got a photograph showing a group of people joined by hand, and it's contending, and there's a few mistakes in there, I apologize, contends that the achievements of the company are a collective effort. Okay, so it's not a single person going up and saying, "Yes, I did it all, it's all on me, thank you very much, I accept this award, I didn't have any help." The image is suggesting that it was a collective effort, that it's not just because it's one man accepting an award, it doesn't mean that it wasn't for everyone. And that's what this represents. So if we look at the how, we already acknowledged that the sleeves of the subjects are rolled up and each hand are overlapping. Now let's explain the why. The hands in the image denote the solidarity of the volunteers, which may make the reader more inclined to believe the power of the many outweighs the power of the few. So it's not just a single entity, it's a group. It's a group that makes these things happen. The image also suggests that the achievements of the founder are a collective effort and that he or she cannot take all the credit. Okay, so there's a sense of modesty there, all right, and that the altruistic nature that a lot of people have when they work for charities and helping the broader community. The clothing of the people is also of note, as rolling up one's sleeves can be associated with hard work, which may position the reader to draw conclusions that volunteering is not easy, adding to the achievements and acknowledgement of the founder accepting the award. So just from those two things, we're able to interpret how that may make the reader feel and why the person accepting the speech may choose to use that image in the background. Now guys, I've gone through a cartoon and I've gone through a photograph. In the remaining PowerPoint that you'll find on our Google site, there is infographics, and I've had a look and I've interpreted them. There's more cartoons. Please go through it, have a look, and then the activities you'll find on the Google site. Have a go at writing your own interpretation of an image. So a what, how, why response. That's linking it to a supporting argument. If you have any questions, guys, please send me an email. Or send your classroom teacher an email. They'll be there. We're here to help you. I hope you've enjoyed my short video today, and study hard.